Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you who are waiting for Season 4 of The Mandalorian, you're gonna be sadly really disappointed.
What?
It's just because, if you think about it, they already upgraded it into a movie, so it's no longer a TV show, it's no longer, something for Disney Plus, it's now for the theaters, and they are thinking that way. However, most fans, and probably a lot around the world who watched the trailer, who actually sat down and watched the trailer, know exactly that many of us were disappointed by that trailer because it looked like a more expensive TV show. It didn't look like a movie at all, and at least for the first trailer. I'm waiting for the second one. I tend to give Star Wars a chance, of course, always, but this trailer really seemed off kilter, off whack. Something was not right, and I'm gonna point you to a direction towards Sigourney Weaver, that she just gave an interview, and it really seemed like she didn't know what she was saying or talking about, but I'm gonna leave that for later. Officially, Lucasfilm, I think, has lost the ball, and this is what we have discovered along the way. More and more information are coming out that they are absolutely bonkers and nothing is as it should be. 2026 will be a very important year, trust me, because by 2026 by the ending of it, we will get not only the movie, but we will get Maul Shadow Lord, we will get also Ahsoka Season 2, and compiling all this, we will get a lot of material showing us, do they actually know what direction do they want to go, or is it still going to be a mishmash of nothing? We don't know the future of Star Wars, and at the end of the day, connecting it all to the sequels is a bad idea, in my opinion, of course. So let's go to a recent interview given by Caddy O'Brien, who played Elia Kane in The Mandalorian Season 3. And reportedly, she is not returning for The Mandalorian and Grogu. So she gave an interview to The Polygon, and she said, and I quote, "I don't think they're gonna do a Season 4. I know the movie's coming out. I know I'm not in it." This is very surprising because, of course, she played a major role for the Imperial Remnant and also for Moff Gideon, but now that Moff Gideon is dead, supposedly they are just discarding this character altogether, and this is, of course, not great news for the continuity of stuff, and she is kind of signaling that after Season 3, I never got a call, we never talked about it, so supposedly Season 4, you can already erase that idea from your mind. It's going to be the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, and then perhaps a sequel to this movie, and essentially, what do we know right now? The Mandalorian, as a TV series, has been completely cancelled and off the table, which is very, very sad to hear, honestly. And this actress just gave you the clear indication that Lucasfilm has abandoned that project altogether, and they're focusing on bigger things that we will see what the movie does in May, of course, next year. Also, this was very weird, honestly, and I wanted to talk about it with you guys to kind of gauge what do you guys think. I felt weirded out by this. So Sigourney Weaver was given an interview at New York Comic-Con, and she said Sigourney Weaver has said that she was on set for only a few days for The Mandalorian and Grogu. I was only on set for a few days, but I was surrounded by all sorts of creatures. And in all honesty, she is prominently featured in the trailer, Sigourney Weaver with Grogu, with Mando. She is giving us Rebel Alliance vibes. She has a patch for the New Republic. All is fine and dandy. However, since she says she was just a few days on set, I don't think she even understood what the role was about. And I hope this doesn't reflect poorly on the film. This is really sad to see the state of affairs that it is at this point. People are not interested in Star Wars as they should be. This is a sad fact. And we talked about it. The trailer was also a very bad indication. If you have any reservations, and if you're thinking, well, this kind of looks like an ordinary episode, kind of the last episode of the season, well, you might be right. I said that in the review of the trailer itself when it released that day because it kind of seemed so. Let me just start by saying that the moment I saw the leaked trailer that was in Star Wars Celebration, I immediately felt somewhat underwhelmed by the whole idea, by the whole thing. As of right now, the synopsis, anybody involved with this project, going from Jon Favreau, who has done for Disney mostly mid-movies as of right now. I mean, the last one I remember him doing is The Lion King, the recreation of live-action Lion King, and it kind of did mid. It wasn't anything special. So now Jon Favreau is back for this. So why should we, believe that Mandalorian and Grogu will be different? And yeah, there's more, believe it or not, because the terrible titles of Star Wars movies do continue, and it didn't stop with The Rise of Skywalker. I clearly fondly remember back in 2019, 2018 when it was first announced. I mean, The Rise of Skywalker was one of the worst titles of any Star Wars movie. The Phantom Menace is still kind of nostalgic and interesting. Attack of the Clones might be the worst ones. It's just something that happens in the movie, so that's how the movie is named. But, you know, The Force Awakens or The Last Jedi, it's not the worst title ever. The Rise of Skywalker was just infamously bad. And now we have another one, Mandalorian and Grogu. It's like a skit TV show. It's like a skit on SNL or something like that. So that's the title itself. So this movie, it doesn't have, and I'm gonna say now how it could recuperate the fans that I think it has already lost. And this is why I'm saying that it's a very bad start at this point. So Star Wars Celebration was a very, underwhelming trailer. I've seen the trailer. It's good. You can see, Zeb in live action. But there's nothing special. Ed Walker's falling on snow. It's not anything new. We've seen that decades and decades ago. Din Djarin doing some moves and Grogu being funny. This is why people are kind of underwhelmed, because it's just a regular episode that you can watch in the Mandalorian TV series. It had a bad start at Star Wars Celebration. Then the title was revealed, an underwhelming title. Now we have an official teaser, which is kind of the same thing as the Star Wars Celebration trailer, just reworked a bit with some new footage. Babu Frick was very much more involved in this one rather than in Star Wars Celebration. And even Babu Frick, I'm sorry to say, cannot save this marketing plot, because at this point, the marketing for this movie has been just subpar and terrible. And what I'm waiting for, and I think this is what it can turn things around, but at this point I'm really skeptical, is maybe showing more out of Thrawn, out of Ezra Bridger, out of Dathomir, how the movie is supposed to progress. If the movie is just Mandalorian and Grogu, so at this point we've seen 3 seasons of them, and I'm sorry, but how can you expand the mystery on just a single movie? This is what the next trailer should answer. It should answer the fans and my question that I just posed. How does this make this different from another season of The Mandalorian? Why didn't we get season 4 instead? Just, if you can answer that question, then I'm guessing we're okay. Or they just clammed in a movie instead of a TV series, which I think will result in a very, very underwhelming movie, judging by what has happened recently with Disney, and by that point with Warner Bros. And everybody. Nobody's really hitting that $1 billion mark. The only movies getting that $1 billion mark are animated movies, nostalgia movies like Minecraft and Super Mario, Sonic, all these other movies that don't rely heavily on story or plot. It's just nostalgia bait, and that's it. Star Wars perhaps is playing to that, because Mandalorian and Grogu might not be a Super Mario Bros. Movie or a Minecraft movie, but it's still Mandalorian and Grogu, even though it's from 2019. So how nostalgic it can be, really. It's just 7 years old when the movie comes out. But who knows? They might turn it around. For me and for other Star Wars fans that are older, like myself, and even younger fans, the only way to really save this movie, I've said this time and time again, and again, I'm gonna be like a broken record, but the only way to save this movie is if you feature Luke Skywalker. That's the only way I see this possible. Luke shattered every record by returning in Season 2 of The Mandalorian. We saw peak Luke, and just that hallway scene, that fight scene, is just something magnificent that we still turn to today to look at, and is magnificent. And then you have the clear connection. Grogu, one of the characters in the title of this movie, is heavily connected to Luke Skywalker, so it won't be that crazy for Luke to get into this movie, because he's the quote-unquote master of Grogu. Grogu might not be the apprentice of Luke as of right now, but he was at one point. Luke was the master, Grogu was the apprentice. There's a clear connection there, and Din Djarin knows Luke Skywalker. He met him once when he came to pick up Grogu for training. So they already know each other, and he has a clear history with Mandalorian and Grogu especially. So why not bring back Luke Skywalker? And for me, I've said it again and again, you should recast Luke Skywalker. Mark Hamill cannot play him anymore. The stunt doubles and the AI face, I don't know how good it would play in a movie, in a full-scale movie. But if you recast it with Sebastian Stan, I don't think anybody would complain, honestly, Disney. And if you want to get to $1 billion, you need to get Luke Skywalker into that second trailer. So the second trailer for me is clearly you have Mandalorian and Grogu fighting, getting into all these scenes. I kind of like the, Hutt, Rhoda the Hutt. I think it's Rhoda, the son of Jabba, that is in the Gladiator scene. All is good with that part. I'm fine with those things. We need some Thrawn in there, some Dathomir that would set the stage up, Ezra Bridger, but the trailer ends. Imagine this. Trailer number 2 ends with Luke Skywalker igniting his green lightsaber. We see Sebastian Stan, and perhaps he says a line, perhaps he doesn't. That doesn't really matter. Or, he says, hello there. It rhymes. It's Star Wars. So, Disney, Lucasfilm, take it from me. I might not be a marketing genius. I might not work in the HR department or marketing department, or I haven't made $1 billion movie yet, but I know what the fans want because I'm a fan myself. I'm a diehard fan. If you tell me that in The Mandalorian and Grogu, Luke Skywalker is going to play a significant role, let's not say prominent role. He's going to play a significant role in The Mandalorian and Grogu, then not only do you have me there, you're going to have a lot more other people that are not really interested in Star Wars, but they are interested in Luke Skywalker coming back again to the silver screen. And in his biggest, most prowess, most powerful, era of that time. He is the greatest Jedi of that time.